Hello, everybody. A little bit of unscheduled programming here because people were extremely concerned about what's going on with Ledger. And hardware, self-storage, self-custody, cold storage, whatever you want to call it, is so important. But let's jump in. Thank you all for being here. And I know this story has been covered by many other channels probably to this point, but nobody will cover it as well as we do. We actually have a wallet expert on in the community as well, so as part of the team. So thank you all. So everybody was freaking out over the last 24 hours about Ledger. And, we're going to dig into what to look for in a wallet. What are the red flags with Ledger? How serious is this? What happens if you already stake on Ledger or you use a Ledger? What can you do next? What are the next steps? And the market is booming right now. Everybody knows the price is going a lot higher from here up to the Bitcoin halving and beyond. So it's an exciting time to be in the markets. We know the Fed is on the verge of a pivot. The debt ceiling will be raised. That means more money is coming in. It means everything's going to go up. But let's talk about this, a very, very important topic, especially with all that happened in 2022. We know that being your own sovereign bank is critical. And a big thank you as well to the scores of people that asked me to do this. So, as usual, this is not wallet advice, but we do have the most comprehensive playlist around personal security, computer security, wallets, that whole playlist. So, I do urge you all, as I say, it takes a lifetime to build wealth and a second to lose it. This is probably the most important thing you can do after honing your investment skills or even before honing your investment skills. So, subscribe to that playlist here. Now, this picture, this little meme sums it up very, very well indeed. It's kind of funny, but then it says, and then we told them they could recover their device by giving us their seed phrase. And why is this funny? We always say the seed phrase is the most important thing in this whole realm. Now, Ledger are having their own Bud Light moment. I don't need to go into what the Bud Light moment means, but this whole announcement by Ledger on their Ledger Recover program, which is a new service that allows users to back up their seed phrase online with Ledger. It shows all the criticism that's out there. People smashing their ledgers with hammers, making up memes. I found the login with Facebook be a very funny one too. And a lot of hammers got abused over the last 24 days. But the problem is, we see companies making huge mistakes right now in the market. You're alienating your core market of very sophisticated crypto users who see this as a huge betrayal of privacy and security. And we'll go into exactly what that is. But it's just weird. I think they were trying to charge $9 a month for the service as well. So initially, when this started flying around yesterday, I spoke to members of the team and it was like, our wallet expert thought it was a deep fake. Literally, shows how big a blunder it was. We could not believe it. The idea that anyone would ask for your seed phrase was unconscionable. It's completely against security best practices. We have constantly told our community, never, ever, ever give your seed phrase to anybody. Lock it down with full security. Tie up your OPSEC, you name it. And there are so many scammers out there impersonating Ledger and other hardware providers that trick you into giving your seed phrase. It's almost laughable that Ledger would actually come up with a service to do this. I mean, it's like, somebody had a complete brain lapse at Ledger. Now, let's talk about the beauty of crypto. The beauty of crypto, as you all know, is anonymity. Okay, we'll talk more about what that means in a minute too. But everything needs to be anonymous, just you, etc. as we go forward. Now, a little background to the story in case you missed it, in case you're busy at work or whatever else. Ledger were coming out with a service that is designed to allow you to use your know your customer, your KYC information to recover your seed phrase. And they would get your seed phrase and they'd break it into 3 encrypted shards. And again, it's just mind-boggling what they tried to do. Now, Ledger, private key security, the private key is the most important piece of information needed to access your cryptocurrency. If an attacker is able to obtain the private key, they can steal the user's cryptocurrency. Clean it out. We've seen that happen time and time again too. The ability to send private keys from the device could allow an attacker to trick the user into entering their PIN and then steal their private key. And the ledger has a history of security problems. I remember I spoke about the case back in 2020 where I said Ledger was hacked. Ledger was hacked. Somebody broke into Ledger and stole the customer details for 270,000 customers and then sold it on the dark web. That's what I meant. Ledger was hacked. Not the key itself, but this is, again, puts a cast on the actual company itself. Now, there are some advantages and disadvantages of Ledger Recovery. So I'm going to do this in a very fair manner. So the advantages of it is it can provide an additional layer of security for users who lose their seed phrases, i.e. they can recover. It is easy to use and it's relatively affordable. So they did think this out. They weren't completely crazy doing this. And I think they're planning to charge $9 a month to do that for people. And there are people out there, guaranteed, a big market that would like this type of service. But again, it goes back against the ethos that we covered at the beginning. Now, the disadvantages of Ledger Recover, first of all, it requires users to provide personal information, which could be used by hackers to identify and target users like it happened with Ledger in the past. Ledger also has access to user seed phrases, which could raise concerns about the security of users' funds. In addition, it means Ledger has the ability to send the seed somewhere, encrypted or not. We don't know exactly what's going on here, and everything goes against the grain of what we've been talking about since the beginning of time. Keep your seed offline at all costs. Hammer it into a piece of metal, bury it somewhere, lock it on a piece of paper in a safe, and the other half in a safe deposit box. All that type of stuff we've talked about at length. And they're saying, hand it over. Well, let's jump into the red flags. And believe me, there are a lot. Some you may not even considered. So first of all, firmware update. One of the concerns, and it may be a low probability risk, we'll see, but the huge risk here is that your seed phrase can be extracted from the ledger without you knowing it. And they say only if you choose to do the firmware update, but eventually you will need to do the firmware update for other applications. And this is a problem. We'll talk in a minute, next slide, as to why that is a problem. But the fact that there is technically a backdoor to extract the seed phrase without your input is a huge problem. If you are trusting them that they won't pull that from your device, it is a problem. We don't know if they're using the same firmware to support this new Ledger Recovery problem. And that is the real issue. We'll talk about the importance of that in a few slides too. In addition, we always say open source, open source, open source all the time. And Ledger is not open source. So they could bury anything in the code that goes into your key, that could pull anything out without you knowing about it. That's the problem. That's why I like open source, where experts can analyze it publicly, openly, and honestly. In addition, another one is the historic database leak. And again, it happened a few years ago, yes, 2020, and they did have a breach on the database. But this brings into doubt everything about the company. How good are they at managing their own OPSEC, their own security of their buildings, their devices, etc.? And this blunder shows the lack of good security practices at a firm. And this is here, ledger.com, full, 272,000 full info orders. Personal information around all the people that bought ledgers. And you know that many of them, you could tell by the address, what type of house they live in, how much money they have. Maybe target them first and then work your way down the list of 272,000 victims that you could attack. In addition, another big red flag is KYC Recovery. So this is important. They want to implement this through Ledger Recover, and they already blundered with customer data in the past. How can we trust them with copies of driving licenses, passports, etc.? Their solutions anti-privacy and anti-security best practices, especially given their past. And we can no longer trust them. It's a bridge too far, period. In addition, another red flag, centralized service. Ledger Recover is a centralized service, which means Ledger has access to users' seed phrases. Yeah, they say they shard into 3 pieces and, keep it very secure, but can we really trust them? The answer is no. And what could they do? Or what could a bad actor do housed within the company? An employee that goes rogue? Who knows? So much risk. In addition, privacy. One of the main concerns Ledger Recovery requires, again, passports. I got to stress this because it's so important. National identity cards, etc., to use the service. And this information could easily be pulled by hackers. And not just to pull your crypto off your key, but also, who knows, impersonate you and go after other assets. I mean, the sky is the limit here. We can't even begin to talk. Now, this is a weird one. And again, this might be far-fetched, but I was thinking, they are European-based. I think they're based in France. And they have been working with the MiCA from the European Commission. And maybe this means that the European Commission said, hey, can you work with us and kind of open the door to mandatory KYC for all hardware wallets in Europe? Who knows? But Ledger did submit feedback on MiCA. Ledger is also actively participating in the MiCA working group. And Ledger, as they say, is committed to working with regulators to protect users or user protective regulation. I'm not sure. And Ledger believes MiCA can be a positive step in the industry. But maybe, who knows, they could be part of the WF and they have other plans. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. And needless to say, we are very upset. So let's go to the conclusions. What a crazy world. There's so many silly things being done by corporations these days. It's just mind-blowing. But let's get back to hardware security. And let's talk about some alternatives as well that you can use if you currently are using ledgers. So first of all, and this general statement, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. I'm a big fan of Albert Einstein. But this is very important. It's important to make sure that simplicity does not come at the expense of accuracy or effectiveness. Remember, sometimes if something is too simple to use, it's dangerous, okay? Opting for the simple button can cost you your life's crypto. In addition, this is still an opt-in service. So a lot of people are asking, hey, are my coins safe? Hey, I staked token X on Ledger. What do I do? Well, it is an opt-in service. And basically, it creates the ability to do those encrypted shards and everything else, etc. But you do not have to give Ledger your seed phrase. And of course, we do not recommend using Ledger Recover by no stretch. The concern we have is what they do with the background infrastructure to make this service possible. That is the concern. Now, this is the most important thing because people are freaking out. They're smashing their ledgers. They're trying to move to something else. What do they need to do? So this is kind of the plan of attack. First of all, never panic. Never make emotional decisions. Always be calm, cool, and relaxed. And there's no need to panic. First of all, the funds in your ledger are safe. For now, there is no reason to believe that the firmware update or the Ledger Recovery service has any impact on the current security of your device. But the concern is more around Ledger security practices and their values going forward. Again, I repeat again, they've made too many blunders now. This is the last straw as far as we are concerned. Now, short term, do not use Ledger Recover. Do not opt in. Do not buy it. We continue to preach, do not give your seed to anybody. This continues to be security best practice. And we will also encourage folks not to update to version 2.2.1. Remember, by not updating to 2.2.1, there's no risk you will even accidentally use Ledger Recover. But long term, medium to long term, make a plan. Start moving your funds off of Ledger. Reduce your dependency on Ledger. Again, no need to panic. Instead, take your time, document all of your crypto you have in your Ledger, and slowly move it out of Ledger onto another device. And the reason we are recommending leaving Ledger is because this move really is the last straw, okay? It's anti-privacy, it's anti-security best practice. They really screwed the pooch perfectly. If you said to me 24 hours ago, 48 hours ago, how could I destroy Ledger Company as a CEO overnight? This will be it. So let's go. First of all, a quick reminder on what you need to have, the prerequisites for any cold storage wallet. 1, security. The most important factor to consider when choosing your hardware wallet is security. Wallets should be designed to protect your private keys from unauthorized access. That's it. The features you want is air gapping. This means the wallet should be designed to operate offline, which means it's more difficult for attackers to access your private keys. Second, cold storage. The wallet should store your private keys offline. Again, difficult to hack. And third, PIN protection. The wallet should require a PIN to access your funds, which adds an extra layer of security. And there's a bunch of other features you'll see in the playlist as well down the line. Now, the other thing as well, open source. Your wallet should be open source. Do not tolerate any closed source technology. Also, firmware updates. You should be able to receive firmware updates, which can help patch vulnerabilities. But in the case of Ledger, do not download the update. Next is easy use. Again, easy to use, but not over simple. There are steps that are in place to make the wallet more secure. Okay, so don't pick something that's super easy. And finally, veracity. The wallet should be from a reputable company with a good track record. You should be able to find reviews of the wallet online and get a sense of its reliability. So check all those things out. But there's a lot more. So first of all, even Trezor, which kind of was our favorite Bitcoin wallet, they announced April 19th that it would be implementing CoinJoin. And that's a privacy feature that combines multiple transactions to make it more difficult to trace. But CoinJoin is available on Model T and Model 1 wallets. But the problem is the crypto community criticized Trezor's decision to implement CoinJoin, citing concerns about censorship and surveillance from government entities. So Trezor also got a black eye a couple of weeks ago. Be careful of that too. In full disclosure, well, I won't say. You're not supposed to say anything about your wallets, by the way. Next is hardware wallets that fit the bill. Okay, a lot of people are asking, what do I do now? What do I do? I've got to ditch my Ledger. Where do I go next? So if you're Bitcoin only, again, Trezor, I did mention the black eye that they got previously. Bear that in mind. Then there's Blockstream Jade, which is a very good wallet. Cold Card Mark III or Mark IV. OpenDime, also very good. Passport, very good. Again, this is from our resident wallet expert. Regarding altcoins, Trezor Model T handles some, like Ethereum. Also, KeepKey is apparently very good, and so is AirGap. So keep that in mind for your kind of potential alternatives, but do a lot of research as well. And remember, okay, there's a conference happening, Bitcoin conference right now, and last year there were firms handing out free wallets. Do you accept a free wallet where you put your precious crypto, ladies and gentlemen? The answer is no. And this is an example of a fake Trezor. I covered this a few days ago, actually, but it's good to remind you again. Only buy wallets from official sources or from the vendor itself. And do not accept them for free at a conference. All right? If it's too cheap, if it's marketed hard, don't touch it. It's probably bad, okay? And if it's free, be very suspicious and don't touch it either. And remember, they can clone these things and make them extremely valid looking with all these fancy little things to make them look legit. Anyway, time is running out. Good times ahead. Bitcoin's going up. Bitcoin hit 27.5, I think, a few minutes ago. And technology is on fire. Everything's going really well. So be safe out there. Remember, I do have to stress this again. Lock down your computers, lock down your wireless networks, lock down your phones, and pick a good wallet and make sure it's safe and secure. And practice your OPSEC all the time. With that, everybody, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.